Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be discussing the impact of COVID-19 on global hunger, including the social and political implications. Before the video starts, make sure to like and subscribe to show your support. It would be amazing if we could hit 10 likes this video. Also make sure to share this video with friends and families, as this way they can be educated on this topic and awareness can be spread effectively. To start things off, I'll be showing you a skit I made with some friends, which demonstrates the differences between higher income families and lower income families in relation to the impacts of COVID-19 on hunger. So without further ado, let's get on with the video.
Guys, guess what? I bought something with the money I saved up in your life.
Yeah! What is it?
Tom Tango, I always wanted this.
Me too!
You guys can share it.
It's also got 0 grams of sugar.
Oh, I should have put some more of his chips.
Dinner's almost ready.
What's for dinner?
We're having meat and mash.
I don't want that. I want lamb.
Fine, I'll give it to the dogs and we'll have lamb.
COVID has caused global poverty to drastically rise. This also resulted in spikes in global hunger. It has brought to light how much social status affects the way people live, as well as social connections, as COVID has greatly affected the way that we connect to each other. COVID in itself affects technology and the way that we have talked to each other, in limiting physical interaction between each other. When we look at global hunger, it creates a cycle that people can't escape from. It causes individuals to be less productive, more prone to disease, which in turn makes it less able to improve their livelihoods or earn an income. When looking at this socially, we can infer that this will result in drastic changes in the people's social lives, whether it be their commutes to work, the way that they interact with their family and friends, or even simple things like going outside. Global hunger affects it all. When we look at it like this, we can also say that another contributing factor for hunger is hunger itself. Although it might seem quite strange to blame hunger for hunger, it is actually a reflection of the vicious cycle that hunger causes. As I stated before, when people are undernourished, they tend to be weak or unhealthy. If hunger makes it hard for people to grow and learn, then it's no surprise as to why these people can't rise up to break the cycle of poverty and hunger. When looking at these graphs in front of us, we can see how much COVID has had an impact on poverty. In graph number 2, or figure number 2, long-term impacts of COVID-19 on extreme poverty in 2030. This is done by the absolute numbers, and we can see that the majority of these countries have major increases in poverty, as we can see in the dark blue line, which further extends in Nigeria from about 100 million to nearing 110 million. This is a drastic increase within only a 10-year span of time, which when you look at it in the grand scheme of things is quite short. This really brings to light the effects that poverty has, that COVID-19 has had in poverty, and the inherent effects that it has on global hunger. Because when people live in poverty, they can't make a suitable income, which means they can't have enough money to buy food, which in turn, as I said before, creates a vicious cycle and allows it to go and go and go again. On the right, we can see another figure. COVID-19 could push 500 million people into poverty. As we look at it, we can see that East Asia and Pacific have 239.8 million people currently living in poverty. South Asia, 128 million, and the figures go down and down as the general population of that region decreases. However, again, when we look at the East Asia and Pacific, we can notice that these are two places that are the most heavily affected by hunger. And there's a direct correlation between COVID-19, hunger, and poverty, because they all have a sort of ripple effect on each other, and they all greatly affect how the other one changes. Next, we'll be looking at this visual to further demonstrate the devastating impacts that COVID-19 has had on global hunger. So this graph is showing the expected undernourished population by 2030. It has 4 lines, the first one being pre-COVID scenario, second one best case scenario, third one mid scenario, and the final one worst case scenario. So in the pre-COVID scenario, we can see that the predicted value is about 0.82 billion or around 820 million. The best case scenario is reaching about 0.84, I'd say, or 3. The mid scenario is about 0.87 and 8. And the worst case scenario is at 0.9. So when we look at it from the pre-COVID scenario to the mid scenario, which is the most likely to happen or the ballpark area, we can see about a 0.5 billion increase in undernourished people. This is a 500 million people increase in global hunger. This further illustrates the impacts of COVID-19 on global hunger, which inherently relates to how COVID-19 has affected poverty, which results in lower income, less access to a chance to get more money or have higher income, which in turn will affect global hunger because you don't have enough money to buy food. And I keep bringing it back to this vicious cycle, which is right here. The cycle of hunger. As we can see here, there are a few things that hunger can cause and trap you into. Poor nutrition stunts physical and mental development. This means in children, there's no chance for them to grow, and their childhood and most important parts of their lives in terms of education are not able to be met. In terms of family, poor health during pregnancy could lead to an undernourished child. This starts the cycle all over again almost before it even begins. Within youth, chronic health problems could keep kids out of school because the youth doesn't have access to food because of global hunger, poverty, etc. It could keep them out of school because they develop certain health problems. And in adults, a lack of education limits the ability to work or break free of the cycle as a whole, because this all relates to each other. So as a child, you had poor nutrition, your physical and mental development was stunted. During your youth, you were kept out of school due to these physical and health issues. And then when you become an adult, because of all of these built up factors, you lack the ability to be able to make a higher income and break out of this circle. So we begin to see now how this cycle can continue going and going and going. And it's so hard for people to break out of it. And this has only been increased by the recent events of COVID-19. So all of the things that we've been talking about, the cycle of hunger, how poverty can trap people in this cycle, COVID-19's impacts on global hunger and poverty, they all accumulate to many different events. One of the main ones being an increase in death rates. A statistic is that a child dies from hunger every 10 seconds. Poor nutrition and hunger is responsible for the death of 3.1 million children a year. That is nearly half of all the deaths in children under the age of 5. These children die because their bodies lack basic nutrients. Furthermore, globally, 822 people suffer from undernourishment. After hearing these statistics and all the other things that have been stated throughout this video, I'm sure all of you are wondering, how can we make a change? Here are 5 things that were promoted by the Zero Hunger Challenge that was recently trending. It says all food systems are sustainable, adapt all food systems to eliminate loss or waste of food, access adequate food and healthy diets for all people all year round, and an end to malnutrition on all its forms, and finally, an end to rural poverty, double small-scale producer incomes and productivity. These are 5 goals that can be achieved systematically over a course of time to gradually achieve that zero hunger goal. And a few other things that you can do if these seem a little bit out of reach for the general person is food drives. Something as simple as gathering food from a community, your neighborhood, your school, your classmates, your friends, your family, and giving them to areas that are suffering from poverty and don't have access to adequate food. Things like that can really help slowly and gradually build up our society again to a point where everyone is able to have access to food despite the times that we are currently living in. Other things we can do to help spread awareness on this topic of COVID-19's impacts on global hunger are social media posts, such as this YouTube video, TikTok stories, Instagram stories, or even Snapchat stories. All of these things can educate a wider community on the impacts of COVID-19 and global hunger. While it may not seem like a big thing, involving people can have a ripple effect and get them involved in things such as these 5 goals, or even food drives, which could greatly help achieve this zero hunger goal that we are aiming for, despite the times that we are living in. Thank you for listening to this video. If you enjoyed it, please smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and comment anything that you think I could do better for next time. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know whenever I upload next, and make sure to smash like and comment. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and have a great day. Thank you for watching.